Hello and welcome into this edition of the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series Rewind show right here on Racing News Now. As always, I'm your host, Garth Allen. Thank you once again for joining me today. If this is your first time catching a Racing News Now video, consider going down below to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell for notifications so you don't miss a thing going forward from RNN. And I am so happy we are officially out of the off season. There are cars on the track. We had 3 races to cover from this weekend. 3 races and Daytona 500 qualifying, so lots happening this weekend, all down in Florida. And this is the first of 3 rewind shows we have coming up here soon. I know we're a little behind on the ARCA rewind show. That's coming up tomorrow, as it will have highlights in it. So look for that Tuesday night. We're just waiting to get those highlights so we can have that looking all nice and pretty for you. So ARCA rewind tomorrow, as well as there should be a K&N rewind tomorrow for their race at New Smyrna as well. But right now we are talking the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series. They had 2 things happen this weekend, mainly, besides practice sessions. We had Daytona 500 qualifying and the Advance Auto Parts Clash, both on Sunday this weekend. So let's go ahead and take a look at those. First off, we'll start with Daytona 500 qualifying, as that was the first thing to happen on Sunday. 5th straight pole for the Daytona 500 for Hendrick Motorsports. William Byron on the pole in his first outing with new crew chief Chad Knaus. The first race, Knaus has been away from Jimmy Johnson for his entire career as a crew chief, and he puts that 24 car of William Byron on the pole. Interesting to note that he also got Jimmy Johnson's first pole in the 2002 Daytona 500. So some nice parallels there as Knaus steps away from that 48 car. Alex Bowman on the outside of the front row. The 4 Hendrick cars are actually the 4 fastest cars on the sheet here, with Jimmy Johnson and Chase Elliott making up row 2. But if you're not familiar with how Daytona 500 qualifying works, only the top 2, the front row, are the only positions locked into their starting positions for the Daytona 500. The rest of them, it's basically just to determine their starting position for the duels on Thursday, which are the qualifying races that actually determine everything from 3rd through 40th. Now, the nice thing about the duels this year is we actually have cars that will go home. Last year, the duels didn't really mean anything. They were just to kind of lock up starting positions. This year, there's actually more cars than what we have to fill the field. We have 42 cars in Daytona this year, so 2 cars will go home. So there will be a little bit of drama Thursday night in the duels, and that is the cool thing here as we're skimming through the rest of the starting lineup here. Your 6 cars vying for the 4 spots that are open. As with the way the charter system works, is we have the 36 cars that are locked in with charters. So 37 through 40th is where the last 4 cars will fall in. Not necessarily in those positions, but just filling out the field, the last 4 cars, and then 2 cars go home. So your 6 cars vying for those 4 spots. Tyler Reddick making his first Cup Series start in the 31 car for Richard Childress Racing. Childress does not have a 3rd charter, so that's why Tyler Reddick trying to race his way in. Casey Mears in the 27 car. That is a Germain Racing effort, a 2nd car for Germain Racing with equipment from Premium Motorsports. Casey Mears making his return, trying to get back into the Daytona 500. Ryan Truex in the 71 car for Tommy Baldwin Racing. And then the other 3 cars will be Brendan Gaughan in the 62 for Beard Oil, Parker Kligerman in the 96 for the Gaunt Brothers Racing, and Joey Gase in the 66 for MBM Motorsports. Tyler Reddick, Ryan Truex, and Parker Kligerman make up the 3 cars that are vying for 2 spots in duel number 1. And then Casey Mears, Brendan Gaughan, and Joey Gase are the 3 cars in duel number 2. So that is basically in a nutshell how this works. Tyler Reddick and Casey Mears are locked in on their qualifying speeds at this point because they are the top 2 of these cars that are not locked in that are in on qualifying speeds. So basically, they really don't have to worry about the duels. They can fall back on their qualifying speeds. But if they are the first of the 3 cars that are not locked in their duels to finish, like say for example in duel number 1, if Tyler Reddick finishes ahead of Ryan Truex and Parker Kligerman, whoever finishes ahead between Truex and Kligerman actually gets in on their qualifying speed. I know it's a very confusing system, but it's the same system we've used for a long time in the Daytona 500. So that is how getting in via the duels works. But if Reddick or Mears is not the first of those 3 cars, let's say Ryan Truex is the first of those 3 in duel number 1, Ryan Truex gets in off of the duel, and then Reddick falls back on his qualifying time, which Tyler Reddick actually put up a very respectable qualifying time in the 16th position, time of 47.161, 190.836 miles per hour. So pretty good time there out of Tyler Reddick. We know he can run Daytona, as we saw him win the Xfinity race for Junior Motorsports last season. All right, so we're going to head over to the Media Center, and we will see what William Byron and Alex Bowman had to say after Daytona 500 qualifying.
Well, it's always tough when you run this race, and we've led a lot of laps, and we just haven't been able to close the deal. But that's part of it down here, and we kind of look at it like it's multiple races. You know, you got to qualify. When I started, you just want to make the field, and nervous not to get in the race, and we put a lot of emphasis on trying to sit on the pole and go for the front row, and so I think we got the speed, we got to get the handling, now down, and I think this is our second year with this car, so I think we're going to be in good shape. So we'll see. It's a very competitive race, and you've got a lot of things that are not under your control.
It's so cool to be part of HMS 1234. That's really neat and just shows how well everybody's working together. To be locked into that front row, barring a disaster in the duel, is really neat and kind of lets us focus on getting our car driving really well and learning what we can through the clash and the duel and everything. So it's cool to be a part of. You always want one spot more, and it would be cool to have another Daytona 500 pole, but it's neat to see William get that. I'm proud of the 24 team as well as the 88 team, and just really focused on learning what I can in the next week and being the most prepared I can for the 500.
Yeah, I think we're realistic. We probably thought, we're going to be somewhere in the hunt. The guys have done a lot of work to get down here. It's kind of been a hard-working off-season for them, and there's been a lot of things in the works. So I was excited to get down here and see what we had, but ultimately you never know who's going to pop up and be competitive and fast down here. So great to get a pole, big for Chevrolet, I guess, with their accomplishment there. So we're looking forward to kind of checking this off and going on to Sunday.
You much like William said, you never know what you're going to have until you get down here with the limited amount of track time that you have. But based off of what we had last year, we felt like we were going to come down and be competitive. I'll be honest, when the Penske guys went out there, I didn't think we were going to be able to necessarily eclipse what they put up. And then, fortunately, we did. So a lot of hard work and a lot of effort for and from everybody at HMS to be able to do that. The top 4 spots, that's a pretty amazing feat, I feel. If you go back and you look at our qualifying efforts at the super speedways the last handful of races, all 4 of those cars have been in a pretty tight box, and that's a pretty amazing thing to do.
Now, the other thing that happened on Sunday for the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series was the annual Advance Auto Parts Clash, the exhibition race to kick off Speedweeks. Used to be run at night on Saturday night following the ARCA race. They last year pushed it into being a day race on Sunday following 500 qualifying. And this was a very weird race. 3 different rain delays in this race, the third of which actually ended the race about 20 laps short of the scheduled distance of 75 laps. We had wasn't technically a stage break, as this race didn't actually have stages, but it was basically a stage break at lap 25, and then a final stage of 50 laps to end the race. Just really weird. We only got 9 laps into the race before the first rain delay. The second rain delay came lap 42, somewhere in there. And then the final one ended at about 20 laps before the end of the race. There really wasn't much that went on when the cars were actually on the track, though, and they weren't under rain delay. It was mainly just one of those single file around the top type of races. Paul Menard basically dominated. The Penske cars were really fast. Paul Menard stayed out front. Led a total of 51 laps in this race. That's actually a record for the Clash. No one has ever led 51 laps in the Clash. So kudos to Paul Menard. Probably had the strongest car in the field. Unfortunately, this happened right before the final rain delay that would end the race. Jimmy Johnson, with a big head of steam down the backstretch, he knew the rain was coming and goes to make a run on Paul Menard, sees that no one is going with him, so he tries to make a side draft on Paul Menard, ends up making just a bit of contact with Menard, and that sends Menard around and basically wads up the entire field. 4 cars not involved in this race, those being Jimmy Johnson, Kurt Busch, Joey Logano, and Ryan Blaney. The rest of the field, all 16 of the 20 cars involved in this wreck that would actually basically end up ending the race, as we go into caution for that, and then shortly afterward the rain starts, and that was the heaviest rain of the day, so they basically called the race right there, and Jimmy Johnson able to slide through that mess and take the victory, his first time in victory lane since the Spring Dover race in 2017. Not a points race, so technically in terms of his career win number, that doesn't affect anything, but that's got to help the confidence levels for Jimmy Johnson, at least, going winless in 2018, able to start off 2019 in victory lane, even if it is only an exhibition race. A lot of controversy surrounding this one, a lot of people not happy with Jimmy Johnson, basically, as some would call it, wrecking the field. There's some very polarizing opinions on this. Some people are with Jimmy on this. Some people are not with Jimmy. I just see it as a racing incident. It's one of those things where these cars are very hard to handle. I've heard many drivers over the past few days talking about how these cars are absolutely terrible handling. And with the way the air works at Daytona, that makes it very hard as well. I really don't believe there was any intention there. Essentially, the end result was Jimmy did wreck the whole field. Whether it was intentional or not, that was the end result. But no, I do not believe it was intentional. Jimmy Johnson's not the kind of guy to intentionally wreck the whole field just to win a race, especially an exhibition race. Like, there's no reason to wreck the entire field for a race that really, in essence, really means nothing. So, I don't know. I don't understand the whole thinking of, he did this intentionally to wreck the whole field. I don't follow that line of thinking. If you do think that, and you have a well thought out argument for that, I'd love to hear it down in the comments as to why you think, why you disagree with me on this, why you agree with me. Let me know down in the comments. I'd love to hear some opinions on what actually happened in the clash here. But we are going to look down through the rest of the results here. As we said, Jimmy Johnson wins. Kurt Busch able to slide through for a second place finish. Penske teammates Joey Logano and Ryan Blaney, the other 2 cars that made it through for 3rd and 4th. And then Alex Bowman rounded out the top 5, rest of your top 10. And these were all off of scoring loops at this point because all of these cars were involved in that wreck and were going every which way down the backstretch. Austin Dillon, Chase Elliott, Eric Almirola, Ryan Newman, and Daniel Suarez in the 41. And then the final page here, we see Jamie McMurray, Kevin Harvick, Paul Menard, Kyle Busch, Martin Truex, Clint Bowyer, Denny Hamlin, Brad Keselowski, Kyle Larson, and Eric Jones. All right, so that's your results from the Advance Auto Parts Clash for 2019. We're going to head over to the Media Center and we'll see what Jimmy Johnson and Kurt Busch had to say after this one.
Yeah, it was a pretty wild race, just with everything going on, with the rain, the lineup under one of the yellows. I was watching my little brother. He just went and passed like 15 cars under yellow, and I'm like, and then they almost went back green. And I'm like, all right, we got to get all this straightened up. It just seemed like everybody was really antsy. The draft is still pretty tough to gauge. And then with all the rain, it was start, stop, start, stop. And so today was how you can juggle it the best. And I felt like I had a good wingman with my little brother behind me. And it just didn't quite materialize in the fashion that I hoped it would have. But everybody that's running up front is smart, and they're trying to protect their track position. And when you don't know when the rain is going to come for its final time, everybody's, elbows out and antsy, and you're just hoping that you're the leader when the biggest raindrops hit. And so Johnson made a move on Menard, and he stayed in that no zone. I call it the no zone, in that left rear quarter panel for way too long, and it just drug Menard around with him. And that's some of the instability in the draft that these cars show, and that's why we end up single file a lot, is just trying to make sure we're making our move, because sometimes your move is your last move because the cars are so unstable. Yeah, you never know when there's going to be a lack of traction with the tires, but when you challenge the air, and with Jimmy's run that he had on Menard, it just seemed like he stayed there for a long time to do the side draft, and that just gave it more momentum for Menard's car to have a bigger wiggle. And then it looked like Jimmy had to go and duck below the double yellow to try to clear the cars from spinning, and yet that's a pass for the lead, and he went below the double yellow. And here we are, we're the next guy that didn't have problems. So it's like one of those judgment calls. It was close. We almost got the win today with the Monster Energy Chevy, but it's you just got to try not to make mistakes, and I think we did okay.
So he wants the trophy. I'd politic if I was him too. Why not? Points races are different, but we'll take this. We still need a points race win to say we've been back to victory lane. It's a great first step today to get first reps with Kevin, a lot of new members on the team, to bring Ally into the sport with a victory and qualifying third. Just a really big day for the 48 team, and just building the confidence that we're going to need to carry into the season. And then when you look at what happened for Hendrick Motorsports today and also Chevrolet, just an epic day across the board. Yeah, I guess I need to look at it some more. I mean, I was inside of him for a little while before things went haywire. So I don't know what caused his car to get out of control. I didn't hit his rear bumper cover. I made a move and got to the inside and was side drafting him, and his car started wobbling. So I don't know what caused it. It's the last way I want to win a race. I've lost plenty this way. Restrictor plates usually do end this way. So it's plate racing, and I'm here to win races, and I hate there are a bunch of tore-up cars, but I didn't drive through a car and create a wreck. So, again, I'll look at it some more on tape, but from where I was sitting, it was just a racing incident.
And that's about all we got for you on this edition of the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series Rewind Show. Like I said, ARCA Rewind Show for the Lucas Oil 200 from Saturday night should be coming up tomorrow on Tuesday. We're waiting for highlights on that one, to get highlights from NASCAR, so we can give you a good, well fleshed out rewind show for that. So keep an eye out for that tomorrow, as well as a K&N East rewind for the New Smyrna 175 that was rain delayed into Monday evening from New Smyrna. We were actually at New Smyrna Sunday night, and then unfortunately I had other obligations and had to get back, so not able to actually be there for the Monday night running of the race, but we did keep you updated on it on Twitter and that kind of thing. So there will be a rewind for that coming up. Should be Tuesday night, trying to get a time lined up with the winner to get a winner interview on there. But then we start into the main weekend of Speedweeks, starting on Thursday with the duels, trucks on Friday, Xfinity Saturday, and the Daytona 500 on Sunday. So it's a very busy week here as we're getting into the heart of Speedweeks and getting back into the racing action. I am so excited that we're back into racing. It was a very long off season. It wasn't long really chronologically, but it felt long because there wasn't any racing happening. So I'm glad that's all back. I hope you are too, and continue to give you some great stuff coming forward. So I believe that will do it for this Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series Rewind show. If you haven't done it already, why don't you go down below and hit that subscribe button, ring the bell for notifications so you don't miss a thing going forward from RNN. And while you're down there, why don't you hit that big thumbs up button if you like the video. It is much appreciated when you do that, and it helps us out so much when you do that. But at that, this has been the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series Rewind show. I'm Garth Allen for Racing News Now.